This is a very interesting case of we technically won, but we have to ask at what cost, because Fallon is resurrected. She is back. She has her mind. She seemingly is the same person, but now she's built different. She seemingly is in a league that is probably not able to be comprehended, because that defensive spell, the fact that she didn't chant anything, it was just instinct. It saved Senshi, don't get it twisted, but we have to wonder, using dark magic, forbidden taboo magic, I trust our girl, don't get it twisted, but you have to also consider that generally it's taboo for a reason, and even if someone, a lot of times when it comes to like dark magic or dark arts in any show or game, the person in question, they really do have good intentions, but when you dabble into it, you don't realize maybe some of the crazy shit you're doing. Very well, that mixed in with using a dragon as your fuel source and a girl who was normally too far gone. Did we create a monster? Did we create someone who's going to be a benefit to our party? Is Fallon going to go out the deep end? There's a lot of uncertainty, and at the end of the day, the only thing we can say for sure is this just changed everything, and I am so glad we have another 12 episodes minimum of that Delicious in Dungeon greatness. I, of course, have a full live reaction to this week's episode of Delicious in Dungeon over on my Patreon. If you want to see my full and good thoughts to this or any of these wonderful episodes, they're over there if you're interested. Now, I was concerned. You know, I normally don't read synopsis or little descriptions, but I was like, oh, they realize that resurrection magic isn't going to be enough to save Fallon. I'm like, oh, that's going to be one of these types of episodes. And then they just quickly go in such a more interesting direction. So, normally you'd use different type of animals and stuff, just as like a bit of a fuel source to kind of get the resurrection going. We do have a very big, large, and in-charge dragon, and I'm thinking, oh man, is she going to get that dragon within her? Because, I mean, that's going to be pretty useful. And I think maybe if we didn't use any sort of like dark taboo magics, I would assume I wouldn't have any like worries. I would just say, oh shit, we have a dragon within us. That's pretty sick. But it's the combination of going in such a different direction that probably no one's ever used before, on top of using something that is forbidden. Like I said, it's not about not trusting Marcel, not believing that she has noble intentions. I mean, at the end of the day though, I don't think there's any show or game that I've experienced where like, especially video games, you know, the character that, like, they can be my favorite character in the game, they make pretty good decisions, but damn, dabbling into that shit, usually there's a reason why the good endings of those games have you try to convince those characters not to pursue the dark arts any further, because it gonna lead to some bad shit. So, the combination of using something like that, which, yes, it saved her, but the idea that now potentially the power of a dragon is in a mortal girl's body. Does she lose control at some point? Does she go off the deep end at some point? Does she just remain as she is? Now, normally I think I would probably say that whole ghost scene where she talks to the little girl saying, hey, you know, apologies, we're just going to use your home for a day. Obviously, Leos didn't see the girl, but she's always had an affinity for like spirits and stuff ever since she was a child. We saw that in last week's flashback. But it's probably a lot stronger now, and I'm very interested to see if there's gonna be this like tug of war where it gets pulled back and forth of, does she still feel like her old self, or is she something stronger and maybe even more frightening? None of this may not happen. She might just be fine and just be more powerful now. Excellent if that's the case, proud of her, good job. But it feels like that combination of dragon as a fuel source, dark magic as the resurrection, and a girl that was probably too far gone to normally be revived, mixed together with whatever bullshit this dungeon's doing and why it's trapping only human souls to their bodies even after death, we have a recipe for a chaotic disaster. And I don't think this is going to be a show where the whole Fallon stuff is done and over with. I could very well see this being the type of show where it starts with the death of the sister and could end with the conflict towards the sister because of whatever she may end up becoming. Time will tell, but at the end of the day, this should be changing everything. Now, with all the worries out of the way, there was some very fun elements throughout this episode. So, one of the most fun was Senshi almost killing himself. I mean, you know, I want to say, like, how could he be so foolish, but after they reveal, like, hey, there'd be a lot of gas around because of we opened up a dragon, I wouldn't have thought of that if I was Senshi either. As soon as they start mentioning it, I'm like, how could this dude be so stupid? Of course there would be Gat. No, I would have blown myself up too. 100%. I wouldn't have considered it. Maybe that says a lot about me. Maybe it just says a lot about just common sense. Maybe isn't as common in certain situations, but no matter what, it was pretty sick to see how quickly she saved his ass, and it'll be interesting to see. Like, at first, I really thought we were going to go the route where she didn't have memories, because she was only, like, saying part of the name, so I thought it was going to be something like that. But no, like, she's very much aware and there, and it's kind of funny seeing that brother and, like, you know, this is one question I did have early on in the show. Would the sister be mad that the brother was, like, seemingly more interested in the cooking aspect than saving the sister? Which technically isn't true, because he was always still progressing to save her. It's just, you know, along the journey, he was fascinated by food. No, she would love it. She's absolutely into the idea of eating monsters, and she just wants to know what monsters you ate on the journey to save me. And the fact that Marcel is just so disappointed because she clearly wants a sister in this girl. She's just like, finally a female who can just help me, like, relate and just get out of the bullshit that these boys are throwing at me. Nah, she's just as crazy as the brother. She doesn't love her any less. It's just a bit of a slap back to reality, if you know what I mean. But overall, I'm very excited with where they're gonna go. Honestly, had this been, like, I think it would need to be a 13-episode season for it to work, but, like, had they done a one-core, a 13-episode season, I very well could have left this season pretty damn satisfied with a lot of questions for where it goes, but I'm so happy it's a back-to-back 2-core, because in Studio Trigger Do We Trust, they are bringing their A-game, bringing all that talent, all that experience from different works, bringing in some new, fresh ideas as well, and just adapting a damn good source material, clearly. One thing I'm very excited about is where the party and everything goes, because of course now we can retrace our steps, go back up to the surface and stuff, but there's definitely more adventures to be had, and should we get back to the surface and we decide to go, or maybe we just decide to go deeper now, or go a different way, whatever they do, I'm interested if this party will stick as it is, or if, you know, Fallon will do her thing on the surface. You know, I could understand them not wanting her to go back into the dungeon right away. There's a lot of uncertainty of exactly where we go from here. Just, we can take the W for what it is, but we most likely all have a collective worry about dark magic plus dragon plus girl who is probably too far gone, and her seeming a little too built different now that she got that dragon within her. Time will tell. Let me know what you thought of this week's episode, though, down below. Your own theories if you got them. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new around here. Of course, ring that bell so you get notified when I upload more. And hey, like I mentioned, we have a full live reaction over on my Patreon. While you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout-out. So today we got Benjamin Henderson, X Nico, Nugzio, Fuzzy, Momoko, and Pokemon 222 888. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care. Have a good one.